continue to look at the case of 16-year-old Kiely Rodni. She disappeared after attending a party on Friday, August 5th at the Prosser Family Campground, which is right next to the Prosser Reservoir. There were apparently 200 to 300 juveniles and young adults that attended this party, and she vanished sometime after midnight. Her last known cell phone activity, according to law enforcement, was at 12:33 a.m. on August 6th. And according to her mom, her last known location that she received on her phone, which could be from something like the Life 360 app, was actually at 12:03. So that's interesting as well to consider. We'll look at a little article just to go over that again. But today what I want to show you is a little clip from the Adventures with Purpose interview on Court TV. If you didn't know, Adventures with Purpose is a volunteer group of professional scuba divers who've helped to solve 24 missing persons cases, mostly cold cases. They usually only work cold cases. In this instance, they were asked to come and help out in an active case, and found Kiely on day 2 of their search, and the first time in the water at Prosser Reservoir within 35 minutes. Her vehicle was found in 14 feet of water. She was found deceased in the vehicle, and they carefully got the vehicle out of the water, and now the FBI, Nevada County, and all the authorities involved said this is now an ongoing investigation. So they'll be investigating every possibility of what could have happened to Kiely. So we'll have a little look at a clip from that, but I'd encourage you to go and watch the full interview on Court TV with Adventures with Purpose. Please also visit adventureswithpurpose.com and make a donation there if you can, because they literally do all their work based on our support. It's because of the community support that they can invest in new equipment and help find other missing people. They are currently in the Selma, California area, helping in the Gisela Fuentes case, as well as another case of Annette Adams. So they've cleared Avocado Lake in the Gisela Fuentes area. They went there first. If you missed that, just check out my episode on Gisela Fuentes if you have no knowledge of the case. We thought they'd go to Avocado Lake first, and they went there, and fortunately and unfortunately she was not found there. I guess at this point, fortunately, because that means she could still be out there alive and well, and we hope she'll be returned to her family soon. So we're going to look at a little clip from AWP on Court TV. We're going to be looking at a night drive that someone posted on Facebook, which is very interesting to see, to just get an idea of how easy is it really at night to just drive into that water. So seeing it like that at night, I know we've seen drone footage and we've had boots on the ground and everything there, but this was really incredible to see at night, because most of what we've seen is or was from the daytime, right? And then we'll look at some social media updates from Kate, Kylie's friend, as well as Jagger, her ex-boyfriend, and we'll just have a brief look at the Find Kiely website, just to see, where it's at right now. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to show you this little clip, this tiny portion here from the Court TV interview with Adventures with Purpose, Doug Bishop and Nick Rinn on screen. Adventures with Purpose with all the gear on, with Vinnie Politan from Court TV. So let's have a look.
Calling family and notifying them, takes away all hope of their 16-year-old little girl ever driving back in the driveway. Coming into this, we did not want to find her. Obviously, if she was there underwater, we did, because we want to provide those answers. And, the longer the evidence is underwater, the worse that becomes. I can tell you that within minutes of my phone call, Grandpa and Father were there on scene with us. Extremely grateful, but also extremely frustrated as well. A lot of emotions. A lot of very, very extremely strong emotions.
I would assume that the extremely strong emotions are also because of the 2 weeks of searches and the 15,000 plus hours and extensive searches in this Prosser Lake with divers. They literally mentioned at some point in law enforcement said the word submarine, which is why some of you are like submarine, but they said submarine, with ROVs, with helicopters, and they were not able to find Kiely's vehicle. And of course, when Adventures with Purpose came in and located a vehicle within 35 minutes, that must have been So, as Doug Bishop says, emotional and frustrating at the same time. Like, what? Her car was right there the whole time? So, speculatively, of course, we don't know if the car was planted there later. I know that is still a possibility. Anyway, we'll find out if this is a criminal investigation, whether the autopsy report will be sealed or not. I do not believe it's our right to have, but of course, if they do make it public, it would be interesting to see what the results are. But for the investigation to be ongoing, they're going to be looking at every single possibility, of course, now, ruling out all sorts of options of foul play and things like that. So that could take 4 to 6 weeks, as they said, for even the toxicology reports and the investigation itself as well. That could even take longer. So let's see what else they say here.
This is a big ongoing investigation. There's still a lot of answers still out there. A lot of questions to be answered. And the FBI, the Nevada County Sheriff's Office, and the Placer County Sheriff's Office now have one of the biggest missing clues to their investigations, and should be.
I find his language very interesting because, of course, if you watch Adventures with Purpose videos, mostly they have solved cold cases, people that have been missing for more than 20 years, and then they find their vehicles and human remains inside in the water. So this was an active case, as we know, and now they're working another active case, which we spoke about earlier. The thing is to say this is still an ongoing investigation. There's still a lot of answers that are needed. There's still a lot of questions, lots of things to be answered. So we're all on the same page, right?
I fully expect a lot of very heavy stuff to come from this.
I fully expect a lot of heavy stuff to come from this. So we're yet to see. Like Vinny's face over there is like, wait, what? So let's see what unfolds. As I say, I will be covering the case as we learn more, and we just don't know until we know what happened to Kiely. So now let's have a look at that night drive so that we can get an idea. The picture behind me here is actually good timing because that embankment, it's like kind of a slope, is where she would have then, for how the car ended up driven into the water, or where the car entered the water. Of course, I do think that this car, after doing more research, I was initially, I've received a bunch of emails, and I can actually see it's a 50-50 split now of whether it would have a black box or whether it would not have a black box. Majority now believes that this specific model, would have a black box. Now, if it has a black box, they would, of course, be able to tell how fast the car was going when it entered the water, the throttle position, if the seat belts were in use or not, when the brakes were applied and if they were applied, if the airbag deployed, steering angles, and all sorts of things like that. Particularly 20 seconds before the crash, right, and up to 20 seconds after the crash. That information is very, very critical. So let's have a look at an example of the drive exactly on that road to get to this embankment that you see behind me here. So as you can see, this is on Facebook, posted by Christy McFarlane in the official Kiely Rodni Missing from Truckee, California page. So I'm going to make it full screen so that we can see, and let's have a look at this.
State of the water. So that's kind of interesting. Nothing with reflectors or anything. Okay, so here's the way she most likely would have gone. This is to the right. And this road is wider. There's some kind of bumps and hills, but yeah, she had a Honda CR-V, so it's a small SUV, so she would have been able to handle this pretty well. I'm gonna go on this side just because it's less bumpy. But it is a pretty wide road, see? It's pretty wide, so she, it seems like, well, I mean, anyway, she was able to make it down this way. I mean, that's my opinion. We're not sure of that, but all right. So here we're going to come to another T in the road. So to the right, so you'll see that tree in front of us. To the right is another way to get down to the water, and that actually was swing around to the other side of the campground area where I saw that water in the distance. That was more shallow. There is some deeper water over there, but most likely she turned this way. So she went left here, okay? There is, to the left of me on the ground, there's quite, down there, there's quite a big crevice, but her car would have, you know, would have made it, but it's kind of a deep crevice. I'm sure when it rains, it gets kind of muddy, and I hear a lot of people get stuck out here. Back to when I was here on the 17th, we got a sudden downpour, and it got pretty muddy in the location I was at, so I had to get out to make sure I didn't get stuck. Okay, so here's the road heading down. At the end of my headlights, you can see that's the precipice, or the point where she most likely entered the water. That's where all the you know, vehicles were on Sunday. You know, all the authorities were parked. Okay, so it's just right here. Now, if she would have went to the left, there's water over there too, but it's more shallow. And then to the right is, you know, it is deeper over to the right. So, you know, this way, there's a big wide open dirt area here that leads down to the water as well. But I'll just go straight towards the spot where they found her car, okay? There's a little bump here. I mean, right now, it's not as late or as dark as when she was here, but I can see the water. I can clearly see that that's water, and then beyond the water, there's more land and trees. Let's turn my lights off and see. I mean, it's pretty pitch black. I can, you know, yeah, it's pretty pitch black. I can still see the mountain range and stuff. The sky isn't quite as dark as it needs to be to compare, but all right. So we're gonna head towards, just right towards the end. I'll get as close as I can. Of course, I'm not gonna drive, you know, too far because I don't want to get stuck or anything, but so I'm going to stop right here. Okay, so if I kept going, it does go down. There's an incline, you know, I mean, but right now the way it is, I can tell there's water on either side, you know, and that I'm getting close to the water's edge. Now, I don't know how familiar she was with this area, you know, or what the circumstances were, but I'm going to get out and we'll walk down there. Okay, let me grab my flashlight real quick. All right, guys, I hope that just wanted to say hi. Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Kind of nice to have people with me. It was a little less, you know, lonely. All right, so that direction is west, so you can see the sun's just, you know, it's still kind of making its way down, but here's the water's edge. So you can see all around, well, I don't know how well you can see, but there's water there. The campground is in that direction. All right, so we're gonna head down. So I'm gonna just put my flashlight away, but you can see how dark it is. I mean, it's, you know, if you didn't have headlights or a flashlight, it's pretty dark, pretty darn dark. All right. But you can see where they, you know, had the vehicles here. There's some deep crevices here. I don't know if you can see it with the flashlight. Let me see if I can change the setting. Ooh, that's not gonna do it. Okay. So it just makes me wonder, you know, the next day, or, you know, the morning of, the afternoon of, you know, it would have been on what, the 6th, right? Or the 7th. Anyway, that Saturday, the day after the party, if they would have been able to see, you know, anything here. Because that's the first place I would have looked, you know, just on the water's edge, the roads that, you know, led away from the campsite. So here's the memorial. Someone had already put some flowers here in a lovely little jar, and looks like somebody might have left her a note. And then I added those flowers. Those can be from all of us. And then the little crystal there. And then somebody created this heart for her. But here's the water right here. So, you know, it's pretty close. Here's the kind of wet sand. You can see when I step, you know, it's pretty squishy right here, you know, so there's the water. Oops, I need to step in the water, but so it is pretty squishy, fairly muddy. Not really sand, but just, you know, fine dirt and some small stones. But if you want, we can just take a moment of silence for Kiely. And just pray that her family will have peace and closure. And they'll get the answers that they need. So just here's more of the water's edge. I know you guys can't see much past that, but so there's the vehicle up there. So, you know, there is quite a good incline. When I was here walking, I had come from this side over here. Well, you can't see it, but this side over here, and it, you know, you don't realize that this, you know, the incline is as steep as it is. I mean, it's not crazy steep, definitely. Like I can walk up it without getting winded, but you know, if you're in a vehicle going at a certain rate of speed, you know, it's, can you see it as it goes down here? And then back up. And there's my vehicle up there. But I'll give you one last look at the spot. I had wondered if maybe they're going to make a memorial for her in town or something like that.
So if you guys want to see the whole clip, I would recommend going on Facebook on the official Kiely Rodni Missing from Truckee, California page, and check out this post from Christy McFarland. Thank you, Christy, for going out there and showing us this. It's so critical to see this. I mean, it does look really easy, especially if one was actually drunk or high. Whoa. And driving fast, it could happen really quickly. That you could be speeding along, maybe as the convoy of cars left around 12:30, you know, maybe Kiely really needed, she's like, oh man, I need to get home, you know, because she told her mom she'd be leaving at 12:15. So if she left sort of at 12:25-ish as well, maybe she was like, I'm just going to go a shortcut. I'm just going to go another way and just pass all these cars because I need to get home. It could happen really quickly, as you can see here. I mean, sure, at night, I mean, with headlights on, sure, a little more difficult, but still, if you're busy with your phone, or if you are just, I don't know, listen to music, or you're not quite with it, it could actually really happen really quickly. So the black box, of course, the investigation and everything will, over time, tell us more about what happened here. Of course, it's also the perfect place to push a car down because of that momentum that I can get. So there's that as well. But man, that was quite something to see here. So thank you, Christy, for showing us that. Okay, so now I want to show you an update here from Kate, who is one of Kiely's close friends, the one who went with Jagger to Reno to look for Kiely as soon as they heard that she was missing. She said, oh, what I would do to give you a hug again. I wish I could hear you laugh just one more time. I just hope wherever you are that you are in peace. The changes you made in my life will never be forgotten. The memories we made are held close in my heart. Fly high, angel. And then hashtag LLK. It's probably live like Kiely, like you guys say. Thank you to everyone who suggested that that's probably what it means. Oh, that's so cute with it. Look at that huge clip. Oh man. It's like just reminding me of the Gabby Petito days, huh? And with her friend Rose. Wow. So that's so hard. And then I just want to show you quickly an update from Jagger. Okay, so there's 2 updates from Jagger. He says, "My beautiful angel, I miss you so effing much. I know you're still here with me, but I just want to be in your arms again. I miss the midnight drives, listening to country on the back roads." So see, they went on midnight drives, so it wasn't that abnormal for her to be out, okay, at that time. So I miss the midnight drives, listening to country on the back roads. I miss you always having my back and babysitting me when my dumb ass needed it. I know we promised each other that we'd live long enough to sip margaritas on the beach in Santa Barbara and watch the sunset. One day we will, but just in a different life. I hope the peace you feel right now is what you wanted. I hope you are happy and living it up with X and Peep, which are rappers that they really like to listen to, which is speculatively what her 17 tattoo on her ribcage is about for Triple X Tentacion, who had also passed on. If anything, I'm jealous. You get to go to their shows, and I don't. Lol. Rest easy, my love. Hashtag LLK. Okay, so there she's wearing the Odd Future hoodie. The one she was wearing at the party, according to law enforcement. Follow your dreams. Such nice pictures. And then the one more update here. He says, "I'm glad I got to share this sunset with you at least once. And now you are my sun, always shining light in the places I need to go. Hashtag LLK." That is a beautiful shot of a sunset. Okay, then I just quickly wanted to show you the website, which is findkiely.com. Everything has been removed from it except for the GoFundMe page. They've got the family statement here, which is nice to read right here. But yeah, that's it. If you just click on here, there's no more pictures or flyers, of course not, because they found Kiely. It just takes you straight to the GoFundMe. They've raised $62,975 out of a $150,000 goal. So Kiely's mom is the beneficiary. Some people are donating, saying, "In celebration of Kiely's spirit, our hearts are with you, sending love and light from the Buchanan family." And people are sending donations to say, "I'm so sorry for your loss." Yeah, we've got Icked Mail as well. Oh man, so sad. And the last thing I want to show you before I go, it's just a recap of this article. Kiely Rodni's mother reveals she almost didn't go to the camp party as she begs the teen to come forward. Okay, so let's just go down here. They say, "The mother of Kiely Rodni has revealed that her daughter almost didn't go to the campground party the night that she disappeared, as she issued a gut-wrenching plea to local teenagers to help piece together what happened." So just to clarify, this article is from Thursday, August 11th. So 10 days before Kiely was found, and only 5 days after she had been missing. She said Lindsay Rodney Neiman spoke to the Independent on Thursday as the search for a missing 16-year-old entered its 5th day, and investigators are no closer to getting answers as to her whereabouts. She said that Kiely had planned to go to a car show in Reno with her mother on Friday night, but texted her during the day to say that she was going to a party at the Prosser Family Campground instead. It's not clear if the teenager ever left the campground that night. She was last seen at around 12:30 a.m. on Saturday, August 6th at the party, where officials said around 200 to 300 teenagers had gathered in the woods. Her phone went offline at around the same time. The teenager's car, a silver 2013 Honda CR-V, is also missing 5 days on, with multiple law enforcement agencies combing the local area by land, air, and water for any clues as to what happened. Ms. Rodney Neiman told the Independent she wishes Kiely had never gone to the party that night. There was this classic car show in Reno. She's so dynamic, she loves everything from playing the violin to car shows. And so she was maybe going to see some drag races with us there, she said. The mother and daughter talked about the plan on Friday morning, the last time they saw each other. Later that day, Kiely, which they spelled wrong in this article, but anyway, then texted saying she was going to a party instead of going to the car show. She'd been to the car show already. So remember when Kate Akuno said that her and Kiely had spent the day in Reno on Thursday, the day before the party? And on the day of the party, they'd made creme brulee. So maybe there was a bit of a sleepover happening there, right? So, speculatively, when her mom says here she'd already been to the car show. Maybe she means in the past, or maybe she means the day before with Kate. We're not too sure, right? So she said, later the day, Kiely then texted saying she was going to go to a party instead of going to the car show. She'd been to the car show already, and there was this party in Prosser, said her mother. I said, yeah, that's fine. Of course you can go to the party. While she thinks about how things would be different if Kiely had joined her at the car show that night, she said it's not helpful. There's a Willie Nelson song that I've got a long list of real good reasons for all the things I've done, and regret is just a memory written on my brow, and there's nothing I can do about it now, she said. It's not helpful to think about that. What is helpful is to pray and keep the faith that we'll be seeing her soon, and keep the faith that whoever knows something is going to find the courage to come forward and share the information. There was nothing out of the ordinary with Kiely on the day she vanished without a trace, she said. Miss Rodni Neiman said she last saw Kiely on Friday morning and spoke to her by text message that night, not long before her last known sighting. It was just like any normal day. Kiely had come downstairs in their home that morning, and mother and daughter chatted about their plans for the day. It was morning, hi, love you, and talking about plans for the day. Just a little check-in as normal, said Miss Rodni Neiman. She was going to see some friends and maybe go to the gym. We also talked about her plans to go camping the following night. And then we said, have a great day and love you. She said she did not seem out of the ordinary at all. Everything seemed the same. She had a big smile on her face and she was ready to greet the day. She was having a good day and week and was excited about going camping the following night. We had a great exchange. The mother and daughter stayed in contact throughout the day and last spoke at around 11:30 p.m. that night, when Kiely texted to say she would be setting off on the 25 to 30-minute drive home from the party. She said she'd be leaving at 12:15 and was going to start heading home, said Miss Rodni Neiman. That was the last time she heard from her daughter. She choked back tears as she spoke of her regret that she didn't stay awake until her daughter got back home. Miss Rodni Neiman said that she asked her daughter to wake her if she was asleep so she would know that she was back home safe. The thing I regret most is not waiting for her to get home, she sobbed. I fell asleep. I asked her to wake me when she got home, but I didn't notice until 8 a.m. the next morning. When I woke up and noticed she hadn't woken me, I first thought maybe my husband was still awake when she got back and so she didn't wake me. But I jumped up and checked her car and it wasn't there. I went to her room and she wasn't there. Ms. Rodni Neiman said that their family members share cell phone location data, so it's like a tracking app, and so she checked her daughter's phone. The last location data was at the campground where the party took place at 12:03 a.m. She has since learned that Snapchat data shows her cell phone at the same location at around 12:30 a.m. Okay, so the 12:03 is interesting to me because I wonder if that app does it automatically update, every half an hour, you know what I mean? How long? Is it every half an hour? Is it just Mr. 12:33, or was that app and location data turned off? Ms. Rodni Neiman said it would be odd for her daughter to let her phone go dead, adding that she has a charger in her car. After seeing her location data at the campground on Saturday morning, Ms. Rodni Neiman immediately messaged Kiely's best friend to check if she had gone to stay there. Her friend confirmed that she hadn't and drove right away back to the campground to look for her. When the friend couldn't find Kiely or her car, Ms. Rodni Neiman said she knew immediately that something was wrong. She contacted several local law enforcement agencies and California Highway Patrol and filed a missing persons report right away. There was no question that this is so out of character that we needed to get a search going right away, she said. Over the last 5 days, a huge search has taken place around the campground with dive teams, cadaver dogs, and multiple law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and DHS, all drafted in to hunt for the missing teen. Investigators have also combed through the route from the campground to Kiely's home, including the dirt road that leads to the family property. Her disappearance and lack of contact is completely out of the ordinary, said her mother. Kiely normally has a curfew to be home by 11:30 p.m., but sometimes messages asking to stay out until 12:30 a.m. if she's at a party, which is maybe how her and Jagger were driving around at midnight because he says he misses the midnight drives listening to country on the back roads. We always grant that. She never misses a curfew, and if she's going to be late, she'll call or text to let us know, said Miss Rodni Neiman. It's not unusual for her to hang out at the Prosser Campground, said Miss Rodney Neiman, which means she knows the area well. So for her to just feel all lost and just drive off a cliff is becoming slightly less likely in my opinion. It feels like a safe place, like a neighborhood backyard, said Miss Rodney Neiman. It's a couple of miles out of town, and it's just this open space with reservoirs and camping and dirt roads. Lots of people go riding dirt bikes or hiking, and it's a community space. What was different that night was that the party was very large, with teens from different schools all over the region descending there. There's not generally so many people there. That's what made it unusual, said Kiely's mother. Officials have said that around 200 to 300 teenagers and young adults gathered for the party that night. One of Kiely's friends, Samantha Smith, said that some sketchy older guys turned up. She told The Independent on Monday that she was the last person to speak to Kiely in a phone call at around 12:30 a.m. on Saturday. Earlier in the night, the two friends had arranged for Kiely to give Miss Smith a ride home from the party. However, later, Miss Smith said Kiely had been drinking and so was in no state to drive. They then spoke on the phone and told each other to get home safe. At 12:36 a.m., she called me, and this is the last call anybody had with her. Still, I'm sorry, but how do you know that? How do you know that? We said, love you, good night, get home safe, and that's the last thing we heard of her, Miss Smith said on Monday. I mean, if Kiely's calling her at 12:36, how does she not know that Kiely's going to even drunk dial Jagger, Kate, her mom? How can you say this is the last call anybody had with her unless she means from the teen to teen talks? Nobody else heard from her since then. So anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole again, huh? We're already in it though, but you know what I mean. Let's wait to see what law enforcement says. That was the last known contact Kiely had with anyone, she said. Ms. Rodney Neiman said that there are a lot of missing pieces around who Kiely left with, when, and under what circumstances. That's the part we can't figure out, who she left with, or when, or what, she said. The mother issued a desperate appeal to partygoers to come forward to help them piece together what happened, as she believes someone must know something that could help locate the 16-year-old. We are desperate for any other teens to come out and share the last pieces of the story that nobody seems to be able to piece together, she said. If we could just have that piece of the story of who she did leave with, when, which way did she go, I'm imploring the teenagers and the parents of the teenagers. She added, I do think that there are stories from that night that have not been told, and I think that as soon as those people who have stories have the courage to come forward and share it, that would be a massive turning point and could help slingshot us forward. She has two messages for the young people out there who have any information about her daughter's disappearance. My message as Kiely's mom is please come forward even if it's something that you think could get you in trouble. It's not going to get you in trouble, she said. Just help her come home. Even if it's scary and feels scary, stop keeping secrets. Her second message is, as a mom in general, to just look out for one another. Don't let someone get lost in the fray, she begged. Ms. Rodney Neiman also urged parents to beg their kids to share anything that they know. Law enforcement officials have repeatedly said that they are not interested in investigating teenage drinking or potting. Teen-to-teen meetings have been held throughout the week in an attempt to create a safe space where teens feel comfortable sharing what happened. Not knowing what has happened to Kiely is a very difficult place, said her mother, but she's refusing to let herself think of the worst possible scenario. The mind reels, and I think our imagination is our best asset and our worst enemy. And I don't want to give power to any of my worst thoughts by speaking them out and making them words, she said. Ms. Rodney Neiman said the family is just holding on to the hope that one day this is a memory, and when that day comes, she'll be back with us. She described her daughter as a dynamic and wonderful teenager who is interested in so many things, from music and cars to science and cooking. She started playing music at 2. She plays the violin, mandolin, guitar, the ukulele. She sings. Her voice is so beautiful. She's so dynamic, and in that she's able to make direct connections with practically everybody she meets, she said. She is a human of her conviction. She does what she says she's going to do. She has that integrity that either you have or you don't. As the search drags on with no answers as to Kiely's whereabouts, Ms. Rodney Neiman said she's grateful for all the support from her loved ones, the local community, and law enforcement. Family members have traveled from all across the U.S. to California to support her and join in the search. The family also has a great network in the local community who are also keeping Kiely's 8-year-old brother to cope with the situation. So she's not an only child, she has an 8-year-old brother. She also praised law enforcement and the amazing search teams who have extensively combed through the area looking for Kiely. But as time ticks by, the nights and mornings are becoming especially hard. It's the nights and mornings that are really difficult because we're just at home and idle, and it always feels better to be in action and be moving and doing something, she said. I'm so grateful my family is here to help and to breathe love and energy and distraction into the home. Then we go out into the world and the town, and we're surrounded by the love and support of the community. Close friends and community members gather today for a vigil on Wednesday night, including Kiely's old violin teacher, who played some of the teenagers' favorite songs. To know that she has on so many people's minds is comforting to know, said Ms. Rodni Neiman. And then they talk about another press conference and also the reward. Thank you to Jessica for sending me this. This is actually a clip of Kiely playing the fiddle 9 years ago. So she was around 7 years old. I don't know how you found this. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see. So I'm going to leave you with this. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you everyone for becoming part of this community. I'm very passionate about fighting for justice for victims of crime, covering missing persons cases, and hopefully, man, we always hope that the missing person will be found safely and that we can help spread awareness during the search for them. And of course, to protect the families of victims of crime and the families of missing persons who are often treated very badly online. So I'm going to leave you with this. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you.